Get out of your comfort zone. You ever wonder why you're stuck in the same place, doing the same thing, feeling like something's missing? That's not life punishing you, that's life trying to wake you up. Comfort feels good, but it doesn't change you. Growth never happens where it's safe. The truth is, everything you've been praying for, everything you've been dreaming about, is sitting just outside your comfort zone. The question is, are you bold enough to step into it? Most people don't realize this, but comfort can be a silent killer. It doesn't scream, it doesn't make a scene, it just sits quietly, convincing you that where you are is good enough, that you don't need to try anything new, that reaching higher is too risky. Comfort is sneaky like that. It dresses itself up as peace, when really it's just fear in disguise. The truth is, if you stay in your comfort zone too long, you stop growing, you stop dreaming, you stop becoming who you were created to be. You see, potential doesn't live in comfort. Potential lives in movement, in challenge, in stepping out onto ground you've never walked before. But the longer you sit still, the easier it becomes to believe that still is all you've got. Comfort will make you shrink your vision to match your surroundings. It'll have you saying, I guess this is just how life is. When deep down, you know life could be more. But more doesn't come knocking on your door while you're sitting on the couch. More shows up when you step out and meet it halfway. The danger of comfort is that it doesn't demand anything from you. It never asks you to take a risk. It never asks you to be better. It just says, stay here, it's easier. And that's the trap, because ease is not the goal, growth is. And growth never comes without a little discomfort. That's why comfort is so dangerous. It fools you into thinking you're safe when really you're just stuck. People talk about wanting success, wanting purpose, wanting to change their lives, but they don't want to be uncomfortable. That doesn't work. You don't get transformation without tension. You don't get elevation without effort. You don't get new without letting go of what's old. And that starts with getting out of the space that's kept you small for so long. That space might be a job. It might be a mindset. It might be a relationship. Whatever it is, you know deep down it's keeping you from becoming everything you were meant to be. Here's the thing, greatness is not found in routine. It's found in risk. It's found in stepping into the unknown and deciding that even if you fall, you'll get back up stronger. And yes, stepping out of your comfort zone is scary. Of course it is. But fear and growth live in the same neighborhood. You can't have one without passing by the other. You have to decide, do you want comfort or do you want calling? Do you want easy or do you want elevation? Because you can't have both. If you want to level up, you've got to leave behind what's holding you down. That means doing what's uncomfortable. That means saying yes when you feel like saying no. That means showing up even when you're afraid. And don't let anybody fool you. Every successful person you admire had to step out of their comfort zone. They had to take a leap when the landing wasn't guaranteed. They had to believe in more, even when less was easier. And you can do the same. But first, you've got to stop letting comfort write your story. Tear up the old script. Step into the stretch, step into the unknown. Because that's where your next level lies. One of the greatest lies people believe is that fear is a stop sign. That the moment they feel nervous, uncertain, or uncomfortable, it must mean they should turn back. But the truth is, fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal. It's a sign you're heading somewhere new. It's a sign you're leaving the familiar and entering the space where growth lies. If you never feel fear, you're not stretching. You're not evolving. You're just recycling the same experiences over and over, hoping somehow the results will change. But nothing changes until you do. And that change only happens when you push past fear, not when you bow down to it. Most people wait until the fear goes away to take action. They wait until they feel ready. But let me tell you something, you may never feel ready. That doesn't mean you're not capable. That doesn't mean you shouldn't move. The most powerful decisions you'll ever make won't be made in moments of comfort and clarity. They'll be made when your knees are shaking, your voice is trembling, and you do it anyway. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing it scared. You've got to understand that fear is natural, but it's not in charge. It can ride in the car, but it doesn't get to touch the wheel. You see, fear is like a gatekeeper. It stands at the door of every new level in your life. You want to grow, you'll have to walk through fear. You want to launch that dream, fear will be waiting. You want to live on purpose, better believe fear will try to talk you out of it. But if you keep turning around every time fear shows up, you'll live your whole life in circles, starting over, quitting early, staying stuck, and eventually, regret will be louder than fear ever was. The people who make it, who really break through and do something meaningful, they're not fearless. They're just willing. Willing to be uncomfortable. Willing to face the fear. Willing to move even when the path isn't fully clear. They understand that what's on the other side of fear is worth far more than the comfort of playing it safe. Playing it safe never changed anybody's life. Playing it safe never unleashed a gift, never built a business, never inspired a generation. The people who make waves are the ones who walk through the storm, not the ones who run from it. There's a shift that happens when you stop letting fear be the boss. You start to trust yourself. You start to realize that just because something scares you doesn't mean it's wrong. In fact, sometimes the things that scare you the most are the things that will bless you the most. They hold the key to your next level. But you'll never find out unless you go through it. You have to stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if this works? Flip the fear. Use it as fuel. So the next time fear shows up, don't freeze. Don't flee. Feel it and keep going. Say, thank you for the warning, but I've got somewhere to be. Fear doesn't get to write your story unless you hand it the pen. It's time to take that pen back. It's time to stop letting fear shrink your life. Step into the unknown. Trust that you are stronger than your doubt. And remember, every great story starts when somebody got scared and decided to keep going anyway. Be that somebody. Stepping out of your comfort zone requires embracing uncertainty. And let me tell you, there's nothing comfortable about uncertainty. It's like walking into a room with the lights off. You can't see what's ahead, and your instinct is to retreat. But if you always need everything to be guaranteed, if you always need all the answers before you move, then you're not moving on faith. You're moving on control. And control is an illusion that keeps most people locked in place, stuck in routines, tied to environments that are too small for the dreams inside of them. Real growth begins the moment you choose to take the step without knowing exactly where your foot is going to land. That uncertainty, that's where the magic happens. That's where you discover who you really are. Not when everything is going right. Not when the plan is perfectly laid out. But when you say, I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but I believe something greater is waiting on the other side of this decision. Most people never make it past the what ifs. What if I fail? What if I lose? What if I'm not good enough? But I say flip the script. What if you win? What if this opens a door? What if this is the thing that changes your life? The only way to find out is to move through the uncertainty. Uncertainty sharpens you. It humbles you. It forces you to depend on something beyond your own understanding. It makes you pay attention. When you're outside your comfort zone, you don't coast. You focus. You pray harder. You plan smarter. You listen more. You tap into strength and creativity you didn't even know you had. That shaky ground you're standing on. It may not feel good, but it's growing you. Every struggle, every misstep, every "I don't know what I'm doing" moment, it's adding something to you. You're becoming more resourceful, more courageous, more resilient. Now here's the thing. Uncertainty doesn't mean chaos. It doesn't mean you don't have a vision. It means you're walking forward without needing all the details up front. You have direction, but you trust the process. You know that the road won't always be straight, but you're committed to moving anyway. And in that process, you learn something powerful. Clarity comes from movement, not from standing still. You can't figure out your next chapter while rereading the last one. You have to turn the page. So many people are waiting for a perfect time, but that time never comes. The stars don't always align. The doors don't always swing wide open. Sometimes you've got to knock. Sometimes you've got to build the door yourself. And you don't need to have it all figured out to begin. You just need the courage to take the next right step. That's it. One step, then another, and another. Before you know it, you're standing in the middle of a life you once only imagined. But it all started with you choosing to move. Even in the fog, even with the doubt, even with the uncertainty. So don't let the unknown paralyze you. Don't let fear of what might happen stop you from finding out what could happen. The greatest breakthroughs in life don't come from comfort. They come from risk. And every time you choose faith over fear, you're building a life that reflects the strength inside of you. It's okay not to have all the answers. Just don't stop moving. Trust the path. Trust the process. And most of all, trust that uncertainty isn't your enemy, it's your invitation. Fear is a powerful force. It's the #1 dream killer. It'll whisper in your ear and tell you you're not qualified, you're not ready, you'll embarrass yourself, or you'll fail. It doesn't speak in facts. It speaks in emotion, in hesitation, in anxiety. But the truth is, fear has no power until you agree with it. It only becomes real when you let it paralyze your movement. Most people don't fail because they tried and lost. They fail because they never started. Fear told them it was too risky, too uncertain, too far-fetched, and they believed it. But what you've got to understand is fear and growth never live in the same house. One of them has to go. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is moving even while fear is talking. Courage is saying, "I hear you, fear, but I'm not giving you the driver's seat." Every single person who's ever done something meaningful had to face fear. Fear of judgment, fear of poverty, fear of rejection, but they pushed through. They stepped forward in spite of their nerves, their doubt, their shaking hands. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and people who succeed. It's not talent. It's not background. It's not luck. It's the willingness to act in the presence of fear. When you decide to do something new, start a business, change careers, write a book, go back to school, fear will show up fast. That's how you know you're onto something. Fear is actually a signal that you're leaving comfort and stepping into growth. It's not a red light, it's a caution sign. Proceed with wisdom, yes, but proceed. Don't freeze. The more you obey fear, the more it grows. But the more you face it, the smaller it becomes. You take one step forward and realize, wait, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Then you take another step and another. And before long, fear is still there, but it's behind you now, not in front. Some people are waiting for the fear to go away before they move. But that's not how it works. Faith doesn't cancel fear, it overrides it. When you feed your faith, fear loses its grip. You remind yourself that your purpose is bigger than your panic. You remind yourself that you've survived everything that's come before this, and you'll survive this too. You remind yourself that if you never move, you'll never know what could have been possible. There's greatness on the other side of fear. New relationships, new income, new ideas, new breakthroughs. But you don't get to experience any of it until you make the decision that fear will not have the final say in your life. That's your choice. No one can do that part for you. You've got to wake up and tell yourself, I may be scared, but I'm showing up anyway. I may be unsure, but I'm not sitting this one out. Every successful person you admire has a history with fear, but they chose to see it as a challenge instead of a ceiling. You can do the same. Fear doesn't mean stop, it means grow here. It's your chance to build strength, build confidence, and build character. And every time you push past it, you send a message to the world and to yourself that you are not defined by fear. You are defined by courage, faith, and action. So feel the fear, acknowledge it, then move anyway. Discomfort is the soil where growth takes root. Nothing worth having in life is going to come from a place of ease and routine. Comfort zones are beautiful because they feel safe, they feel familiar. But they are also dangerous because they convince you that average is acceptable. When you stay in a comfort zone too long, you start settling. You settle for less than what you're capable of. You settle for the job that pays the bills but doesn't inspire your soul. You settle for relationships that don't challenge or support you. You settle for excuses instead of goals. And that, right there, is the silent killer of potential. Real growth never happens when everything's smooth. It happens when things get tight, when you're forced to stretch. Think about it, no one builds muscle lifting feathers. It's the resistance, the strain, the pressure that creates the strength. And life is the same way. When you challenge yourself to do something new, something uncomfortable, you give yourself a chance to grow in ways you never imagined. Growth lives outside of routine. It lives in waking up earlier. It lives in learning something you don't yet understand. It lives in choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. And most of all, it lives in doing what most people are too afraid or too lazy to do. The problem is that most people wait for motivation before they move. But growth doesn't wait for motivation. Growth responds to discipline. It responds to action. It's about doing the work when you don't feel like it. It's about showing up for yourself even when no one's clapping for you. Because if you only grind when you're hyped, you'll never finish anything meaningful. The grind is supposed to be tough. That's why it works. That's why it separates winners from wishers. Now, the thing about discomfort is that it feels like something's going wrong, but actually something's going right. You're leveling up. You're becoming more. You're proving to yourself that you're not made of weakness, you're made of fire. That's why you've got to lean into the uncomfortable moments. Lean into the nervousness, the confusion, the awkwardness of new beginnings. That's where your next level is being born. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be present and persistent. One of the best lessons life will ever teach you is this: if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. You've got to be willing to go through something uncomfortable to experience something extraordinary. And the truth is, growth isn't always visible right away. Sometimes it's silent. Sometimes you're becoming stronger, wiser, more resilient, and you don't even see it yet. But keep going, keep pushing, because everything you want is on the other side of that resistance. The breakthrough comes after the struggle, not before it. Your comfort zone will lie to you. It'll tell you you're fine where you are. It'll whisper, you don't need to try that. But deep down, you know better. You know there's more for you. You feel it in your gut. You hear it in your dreams. That vision you have for your life didn't come to you by accident. That's your calling. And it requires growth. So stop waiting for things to feel easy. Start choosing discomfort on purpose. Wake up and put yourself in situations where you are challenged to be better. That's how you grow. That's how you rise. That's how you walk into the life you were born to live. The greatest transformations happen when you stop waiting for the right moment and start trusting that movement is better than perfection. Getting out of your comfort zone is not a one-time event. It's a lifestyle. And what makes that lifestyle sustainable is consistency. See, talent can give you a head start, but consistency is what takes you across the finish line. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most talented. But if you can be the most consistent, you will win every single time. People often overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can do in a year of steady, consistent action. It's not about making one big leap and landing your dream life. It's about showing up every day and doing the small, sometimes boring, uncomfortable things that most people avoid. It's about choosing growth daily, especially on the days when no one's watching, when no one's cheering, when there's no spotlight. That's when your character is forged. That's where the winners are built. Now let's be real, staying consistent when the results are invisible. That's tough. When you're going to the gym and not seeing the weight come off, when you're working on your business, but the sales aren't flowing yet, when you're chasing your dream, but the phone isn't ringing, it's hard. That's when doubt creeps in. That's when most people quit. But that's also the exact moment when you're being tested to see how bad you want it. Life is asking you, are you serious about this? Are you just interested, or are you committed? Because if you're only interested, you'll do it when it's easy. But if you're committed, you'll do it no matter what. Consistency is about showing up after the excitement wears off. It's waking up early even when the bed feels warm. It's saying no to distractions even when they look like opportunities. It's choosing discipline over desire. And when you do that day after day, something powerful happens. You build momentum. And momentum is the silent force behind every successful person you admire. Once you've got momentum on your side, even a little progress feels like a win. And every win makes you want to keep going. It becomes a cycle of growth. You also have to understand that consistency builds trust. You start trusting yourself when you do what you say you'll do. And when you trust yourself, your confidence rises. That confidence becomes your superpower. It helps you walk into rooms you never thought you belonged in. It helps you speak boldly, dream bigger, and push past fear. That trust starts with one simple promise kept to yourself. I'm going to show up today. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to do it daily. So don't wait until the mood strikes. Don't wait until the conditions are perfect. Just start and keep going. Push through the boredom. Push through the resistance. And keep your eyes on the vision, not the clock. Because time doesn't build dreams. Consistency does. What you do consistently will shape who you become permanently. And if you stay locked in, focused, and faithful to the process, that discomfort you feel right now will turn into the discipline that unlocks your destiny. Keep showing up, keep moving, keep building. Your future depends on it. So here's the truth. Growth ain't comfortable, and comfort don't lead to growth. If you really want to level up, if you truly want to live the life that's been planted in your heart, you've got to be willing to stretch, to move, to leap. Stepping out of your comfort zone is scary, but staying in it will rob you of your purpose. You weren't built for average. You weren't designed to play small. There's a version of you that's waiting on the other side of fear, and the only way to meet that version is to get uncomfortable and stay consistent. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect. Trust the process, stay faithful to the grind, and remind yourself daily, everything you want is outside your comfort zone, but it's worth it.